India has been represented as a non-permanent member of the Security Council UNO during A. 1972-73, B. 1984-85, C. 1991-92, D. All of the above. Answer: D. All of the above. How many Lok Sabha seats does Goa have? A. 2, B. 5, C. 7, D. 11. Answer: A. 2. India played its first cricket test match in A. 1922, B. 1932, C. 1941, D. 1952. Answer: B. 1932. If the plane of the Earth's equator were not inclined to the plane of the Earth's orbit, A. The year would be longer, B. The winters would be longer, C. The summers would be warmer, D. There would be no change of seasons. Answer: D. There would be no change of seasons. How many medals came into the account of India during the 2002 Commonwealth Games at Manchester? A. 24, B. 16, C. 32, D. 69. Answer: D. 69. India's first indigenously built submarine was A. INS Delhi, B. INS Vibhuti, C. INS Shaki, D. INS Savitri. Answer: C. INS Shaki. India has A. Largest turmeric production, B. Largest tea production, C. Largest ginger production, D. All of the above. Answer: D. All of the above. India became a member of the United Nations in A. 1945, B. 1947, C. 1959, D. 1960. Answer: A. 1945. Hygrometer is used to measure A. Purity of milk, B. Relative humidity, C. Specific gravity of liquid, D. None of the above. Answer: B. Relative humidity. How much of blood does the normal human heart on each of its contraction pump into the arteries? A. 30 centimeter cube, B. 40 centimeter cube, C. 50 centimeter cube, D. 60 centimeter cube. Answer: D. 60 centimeter cube. In the 2002 World Cup hockey finals, Germany beat A. India, B. Australia, C. Pakistan, D. Spain. Answer: B. Australia. Human Rights Day is on A. the 24th of February, B. the 10th of December, C. the 15th of May, D. the 21st of July. Answer: B. the 10th of December. In which of the following organs of human body does maximum absorption of food take place? A. Gullet, B. Large intestine, C. Small intestine, D. Stomach. Answer: C. Small intestine. In which year a resolution uniting for peace was adopted by UN General Assembly? A. 1950, B. 1960, C. 1965, D. 1980. Answer: A. 1950. Innocent III, who became Pope in 1198, led A. the First Crusade, B. the Second Crusade, C. the Third Crusade, D. the Fourth Crusade. Answer: D. the Fourth Crusade. In 1943, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Winston Churchill and Joseph Stalin met at Tehran primarily A. to work out a common line of action against Japan, B. for creating an effective instrument for maintaining international peace, C. to discuss the strategy to be adopted by the Allies to invade Germany, D. to consider a common plan of action by the Allies' forces against the Axis powers. Answer: B. for creating an effective instrument for maintaining international peace. How many ergs are there in 1 joule? A. 10 power 2, B. 10 power 4, C. 10 power 6, D. 10 power 7. Answer: D. 10 power 7. India's first atomic power station was set up at A. Surat Gujarat. B. Tarapur Maharashtra. C. Solapur Maharashtra. D. Trombay Maharashtra. Answer B. Tarapur Maharashtra. India's first fast breeder neutron reactor was A. Purnima, B. Zerlina. C. Apsara. D. Kamini. Answer D. Kamini. In which year did Sir Edmund Hillary reach the summit of Mount Everest? A. 1952. B. 1953. C. 1954. D. 1955. Answer B. 1953. Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, established in 1971, is located at A. Kolkata. B. Trombay, Maharashtra. C. Kalpakkam, Chennai. D. Indore. Answer C. Kalpakkam, Chennai. How many non-permanent Security Council UNO members are from Afro-Asian countries? A. 1. B. 2. C. 5. D. 15. Answer C. 5. In cricket, a run taken when the ball passes the batsman without touching his bat or body is called A. Leg by. B. Bowsy. C. By. D. Drive. Answer C. By. India is a grower of pulses. A. Largest. B. Smallest. C. Appropriate for national need. D. None of the above. Answer A. Largest. In which World Cup cricket final Australia beat England? A. 1983, Lord's, England. B. 1987, Kolkata, India. C. 1992, Melbourne, Australia. D. 1996, Lahore, Pakistan. Answer B. 1987, Kolkata, India. Hybridization is A. Decayed vegetable matter. B. A process of tilling the land. C. Cross-fertilization between two varieties. D. Downward movement of water through soil. Answer C. Cross-fertilization between two varieties. Inzai Petty Officers School is situated at A. Lonavla. B. Coimbatore. C. Mumbai. D. Jamnagar. Answer B. Coimbatore. India's Integrated Missiles Development Program was started in under the chairmanship of Drive APJ Abdul Kalam. A. 1979-80. B. 1980-81. C. 1981-82. D. 1982-83. Answer D. 1982-83. In which of the following pairs, the two substances forming the pair are chemically most dissimilar? A. Sugar and paper. B. Chalk and marble. C. Butter and paraffin wax. D. Charcoal and diamond. Answer C. Butter and paraffin wax. 100-Year War was fought between A. France and England. B. Civil War in England. C. Greek and Persian forces. D. None of the above. Answer A. France and England. The following places was the 2018 Winter Olympics Games held? A. Lillehammer. B. Vancouver. C. Salt Lake City, USA. D. Pyeongchang. Answer D. Pyeongchang. India's first indigenous helicopter was successfully flown in Bangalore on A. August 30th, 1992. B. August 30th, 1982. C. August 30th, 1990. D. None of the above. Answer A. August 30th, 1992. In cricket, the two sets of wickets are A. 18 yards apart. B. 20 yards apart. C. 22 yards apart. D. 24 yards apart. Answer C. 22 yards apart. In certain diseases, antibiotics are administered. The object is A. Inhibit the growth of bacteria. B. Produce toxins against bacteria. C. Stimulate production of antibodies. D. Stimulate production of white blood cells for fighting the disease. Answer. A. Inhibit the growth of bacteria. In a normal human being, how much time does food take to reach the end of the intestine for complete absorption? A. About 8 hours. B. About 10 hours. C. About 12 hours. D. About 16 hours. Answer. C. About 12 hours. How many players are there on each side in the game of basketball? A. 4. B. 5. C. 6. D. 7. Answer. B. 5. India's first nuclear blast at Pokhran in Rajasthan took place in A. 1984. B. 1974. C. 1964. D. 1954. Answer. B. 1974. Indira Gandhi was assassinated in A. 1974. B. 1984. C. 1994. D. 2004. Answer. B. 1984. I. D. A stands for A. Indian Development Agency. B. Industrial Development Analyses. C. International Development Agency. D. None of the above. Answer. C. International Development Agency. In August 1996 at Kolar near Bangalore, India made successful test flights of unmanned air vehicle AVE named A. Arjun. B. Nisant. C. Lakshya. D. Vijayanta. Answer. B. Nisant. If speed of rotation of the Earth increases, weight of the body A. increases. B. decreases. C. remains unchanged. D. may decrease or increase. Answer. B. decreases. How many times has Brazil won the World Cup Football Championship? A. once. B. twice. C. 4 times. D. 5 times. Answer. D. 5 times. How many red blood cells does the bone marrow produce every second? A. 5 million. B. 7 million. C. 10 million. D. 12 million. Answer. C. 10 million. How many teeth does a normal adult dog have? A. 32. B. 34. C. 38. D. 42. Answer. D. 42. If force is expressed in Newton and the distance in meter, then the work done is expressed in A. joule. B. kilograms WTM. C. kilograms WT. D. watt. Answer. A. joule. India participated in Olympics hockey in A. 1918. B. 1928. C. 1938. D. 1948. Answer. B. 1928. How much districts are there in Punjab? A. 14. B. 16. C. 22. D. 21. Answer. C. 22. In which season do we need more fat? A. Spring. B. Winter. C. Summer. D. Rainy season. Answer. B. Winter. Ends. Innsventuruthi is located at A. Kochi. B. Mumbai. C. Lonavala. D. Jamnagar. Answer. A. Kochi. In a normal human body, the total number of red blood cells is A. 15 trillion. B. 20 trillion. C. 25 trillion. D. 30 trillion. Answer. D. 30 trillion. In 1945, 50 nations met to phrase the basic charter for a world organization which would save succeeding generations from the scourge of war. This conference took place at A. Yalta. B. London. C. San Francisco. D. Dumbarton Oaks. Answer. C. San Francisco. India's tallest stone statue of the Jain sage Gometswara is at A. New Delhi. B. Mandu, Madhya Pradesh. C. Sravanabelagola, Karnataka. D. Mysore, Karnataka. Answer: C. Sravanabelagola, Karnataka. In which of the following years the membership of the Security Council was increased from 11 to 15 under Article 23? A. 1960. B. 1965. C. 1972. D. 1975. Answer: B. 1965. India's first ocean waves energy project was launched in A. 1981. B. 1991. C. 1995. D. 2000. Answer: B. 1991. In which year terrorists crashed two planes into New York's World Trade Center on September 11th in a sequence of destruction? A. 2000. B. 2001. C. 2002. D. 2003. Answer: B. 2001. India's first atomic reactor was A. Apsara. B. Kamini. C. Zerlina. D. Dhruva. Answer: A. Apsara. India's first satellite is named after A. Aryabhata. B. Bhaskar 2. C. Bhaskar I. D. Baramahar. Answer: A. Aryabhata. How many Lok Sabha seats belong to Rajasthan? A. 33. B. 25. C. 31. D. 18. Answer: B. 25. India has largest deposits of in the world. A. Copper. B. Gold. C. Mica. D. None of the above. Answer: C. Mica. India's first Technicolor film in the early 1950s was produced by A. Mirza Ghalib Sohrab Modi. B. Mirza Ghalib Munshi Prem Chand. C. Jhansi Ki Rani Sir Syed Ahmed. D. Jhansi Ki Rani Sohrab Modi. Answer: D. Jhansi Ki Rani Sohrab Modi. ICAO stands for A. Indian Corporation of Agriculture Organization. B. Institute of Company of Accounts Organization. C. International Civil Aviation Organization. D. None of the above. Answer: C. International Civil Aviation Organization. In which year of First World War Germany declared war on Russia and France? A. 1914. B. 1915. C. 1916. D. 1917. Answer: A. 1914. And was A. the first Buddhist pilgrim of China to visit India during the reign of Chandragupta Vikramaditya. B. the discoverer of Puerto Rico and Jamaica. C. the first Buddhist pilgrim of India to visit China. D. None of the above. Answer: A. the first Buddhist pilgrim of China to visit India during the reign of Chandragupta Vikramaditya. Excessive secretion from the pituitary gland in the children results in A. increased height. B. weakening of bones. C. retarded growth. D. None of the above. Answer: A. increased height. GNLF stands for A. Gross National Liberation Form. B. Gorkha National Liberation Front. C. Both option A and B. None of the above. Answer B. Gorkha National Liberation Front. Gopal Krishna Gokul. A. founded the Servants of India Society. B. served as President of the Indian National Congress in 1907. C. started as a maths teacher and rose to the position of the principal of Fergusson College. D. all of the above. Answer: D. all of the above. Free surface of a liquid behaves like a sheet and tends to contract to the smallest possible area due to the A. centrifugal force. B. force of adhesion. C. force of friction. D. force of cohesion. Answer: D. force of cohesion. East Timor, which became the 191st member of the UN, is in the continent of A. Europe. B. Asia. C. South America. D. Africa. Answer B. Asia. Free market is A condition in the international market where nations do not impose customs duty or other taxes on import of goods. B. Market where the price of a commodity is determined by free play of the forces of supply and demand. C. Ports that are exempted from payment of customs duty on articles of commerce, primarily to encourage tourism. D. None of the above. Answer B. Market where the price of a commodity is determined by free play of the forces of supply and demand. Dr. Linus Carl Pauling is the only person to have won 2 Nobel Prizes individually for A. Peace Prize in 1954, Chemistry in 1962. B. Medicine in 1954, Physics in 1962. C. Chemistry in 1954, Peace Prize in 1962. D. Physics in 1954, Medicine in 1962. Answer C. Chemistry in 1954, Peace Prize in 1962. During the First Crusade, Crusaders reached Jerusalem and captured it in A. 1000 AD, B. 1099 AD, C. 1200 AD, D. 1515 AD. Answer B. 1099 AD. Gabriel Daniel Fahrenheit was A. German physicist. B. Devised temperature scale. C. Developed the mercury thermometer in 1714. D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. The Malayan Mountaineering Institute is at A. Dispur, B. Marmago, C. Dehradun, D. Darjeeling. Answer D. Darjeeling. Ferdowsi was A. poet, B. well known for his epic Shahnama, C. both option A and B. None of the above. Answer C. both option A and B. Ease. CAP. SCAPE stands for A. European Society Council for Africa and Pacific. B. Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific. C. Economic and Social Commission for Africa and Pacific. D. None of the above. Answer B. Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific. Hockey was introduced in the Asian Games in A. 1966 in Bangkok, B. 1958 in Tokyo, C. 1962 in Jakarta, D. 1970 in Bangkok. Answer B. 1958 in Tokyo. For purifying drinking water, alum is used. A. For coagulation of mud particles. B. To remove gases. C. To kill bacteria. D. To remove salts. Answer A. For coagulation of mud particles. Economic goods are A. Commodities that is available according to their demand. B. Commodities that is available more as compared to demand. C. All commodities that are limited in quantity as compared to their demand. D. None of the above. Answer C. All commodities that are limited in quantity as compared to their demand. For galvanizing iron, which of the following metals is used? A. Lead, B. Aluminium, C. Copper, D. Zinc. Answer D. Zinc. Bathymeter is used to measure A. Rainfall, B. Ocean depth, C. Sound intensity, D. Earthquakes. Answer B. Ocean depth. G15 is an economic grouping of A. First World Nations, B. Second World Nations, C. Third World Nations, D. Fourth World Nations. Answer C. Third World Nations. Dr. Zakir Hussain was A. First Vice President of India, B. First Speaker of Lok Sabha, C. The first Muslim President of India, D. Iris President of Indian National Congress. Answer C. The first Muslim President of India. For seeing objects at the surface of water from a submarine underwater, the instrument used is A. Periscope, B. Telescope. C. Kaleidoscope. D. Spectroscope. Answer: A. Periscope. First International Peace Congress was held in London in A. 1564 AD, B. 1798 AD, C. 1843 AD, D. 1901 AD. Answer: C. 1843 AD. Headquarters of UNO are situated at A. Paris. B. Geneva. C. Hague, Netherlands. D. New York, USA. Answer: D. New York, USA. Durand Cup is associated with the game of A. Volleyball. B. Football. C. Cricket. D. Hockey. Answer: B. Football. Hamid Karzai was chosen president of Afghanistan in A. 2000. B. 2001. C. 2002. D. 2003. Answer: C. 2002. Heavy water project, culture and fertilizer plant Pradeep are famous industries of A. Orissa. B. Kerala. C. Tamil Nadu. D. Andhra Pradesh. Answer: A. Orissa. During World War I, Germany was defeated in the Battle of Verdun on the Western Front, and Romania declared war on the Eastern Front in the year A. 1914 AD. B. 1915 AD. C. 1916 AD. D. 1917 AD. Answer: C. 1916 AD. Golden Temple, Amritsar is India's A. largest Gurdwara. B. oldest Gurudwara. C. both option A and B are correct. D. none of the above. Answer: A. largest Gurdwara. For safety, the fuse wire used in the mains for household supply of electricity must be made of metal having A. low specific heat. B. high melting point. C. high resistance. D. low melting point. Answer: D. low melting point. Escape velocity of a rocket fired from the Earth towards the Moon is a velocity to get rid of the A. centripetal force due to the Earth's rotation. B. Earth's gravitational pull. C. pressure of the atmosphere. D. Moon's gravitational pull. Answer: B. Earth's gravitational pull. FRS stands for A. Federation of Regulation Society. B. Fellow Research System. C. Fellow of Royal Society. D. none of the above. Answer: C. Fellow of Royal Society. Goa Shipyard Limited GSL was established in A. 1955. B. 1956. C. 1957. D. 1958. Answer: C. 1957. Germany signed the Armistice Treaty on and World War I ended A. May 30th, 1918. B. February 15th, 1918. C. November 11th, 1918. D. January 19th, 1918. Answer: C. November 11th, 1918. Hermann Scher Germany received Right Livelihood Award in 1999 for A. his long-standing efforts to end the impunity of dictators. B. his indefatigable work for the promotion of solar energy worldwide. C. showing that organic agriculture is a key to both environmental sustainability and food security. D. none of the above. Answer: B. his indefatigable work for the promotion of solar energy worldwide. During 11th Antarctic Expedition in November 1991, March 1992 was installed A. second permanent station Maitri. B. first permanent station Dakshin Gangotri. C. Sodar sonic detection and ranging. D. none of the above. Answer: C. Sodar sonic detection and ranging. Habeas Corpus Act 1679. A. provided facilities to a prisoner to obtain either speedy trial or release and bail. B. States that no one was to be imprisoned without a writ or warrant stating the charge against him. C. Safeguarded the personal liberties of the people against arbitrary imprisonment by the king's orders. D. All of the above. Answer: D. All of the above. Galileo was an Italian astronomer who A. Developed the telescope. B. Discovered 4 satellites of Jupiter. C. Discovered that the movement of pendulum produces a regular time measurement. D. All of the above. Answer: D. All of the above. First human heart transplant operation conducted by Dr. Christian Bernard on Louis Voshkinsky was conducted in A. 1958, B. 1922, C. 1967, D. 1968. Answer: C. 1967. Thank you.